Click on AWS console. Select Amazon Comprehend. Amazon Comprehend uses natural language processing to extract insights about the content of the text or a document. Click on Launch Amazon Comprehend. Here you have a set of options where I have selected real-time analysis and it is a default option. Here in the input text, you can specify the custom text or your own text. I have copied a text from Amazon review and I'm just feeding this text as an input to the Amazon Comprehend. Click on Analyze to analyze the content about the text. So the text analyzed and the result of the text will be listed under the categories entities, key phrases, language, personally identifiable information, sentiment, and syntax. So in the entities, the Amazon Comprehend will return list of entities such as people, places, location that are identified in the text or in the document. Extract key phrases that appear in the document. Say for example, a document about cricket, basketball, football. Okay. So key phrases identified from the text. So here, if you look at the text, it's a tablet. This tablet, it means that it is talking about a device. Okay. Similarly, it also identifies the language of the given text. So with a 0.99% of confidence, so that means that 99% of confidence it identified the given text in the target language called English. Also, it identifies personally identifiable information from the text, which includes individuals, so for example, address or mobile number or contact number, account number. So the personal details about the entities. So in this particular text, it identified the 2 weeks as a entity date time. Also, it identifies sentiment about the text, emotion of the document or emotion of the particular text. So under 4 different categories, the sentiment will be identified. So for example, with a 0% confidence, it is identified as a neutral text. With 99%, it identified the given text in the context of positive, with a 0% negative and 0% mixed. Also, it identifies POS of the particular text or a document. The default built-in model to extract insights about the text or a document. Instead of the default model, if you wanted to specify the custom model or model built by us, we can select the second option. So where we can specify the model which built by us, the Amazon Comprehend uses the model which we have selected here to identify the insights from the text. So to facilitate this, if you want to specify your own model, we can go for custom classification. In the custom classification, we can specify our own model by training a classifier. Click on training a classifier. So where you can use multi-class model, multi-label model. So we can specify a set of classes and the corresponding documents which describes about a particular class, or we can specify set of labels and corresponding documents which describes about the label. Okay, and you can specify the location of the document in the S3. Finally, you can also specify where you want to store the model. Once you specify all the default parameters, you can click on train classifier to generate your own model. Similarly, you can train your own classifier for the custom entity recognition. Consider if your text specifically deals about the medical data, then Amazon Comprehend Medical, where the real-time analysis, it is specifically designed for the medical data. So it will identify set of insights such as entities, remedies, and other information about the medical data by using the built-in model. Amazon Comprehend also uses the option called analysis jobs. So this particular option examines the content of a collection of documents to determine the common themes, specifically at the topics. So here the Amazon uses LDA, latent literature allocation based learning model, to determine the topics in set of documents. For the most accurate result, at least we're supposed to provide 1,000 documents under each category, and each document at least should have 3 sentences log. Then if the document consists of any numerical data, I think you should remove it from the corpora. So this is mainly used for the topic modeling. Many interesting NLP based applications can be developed. As part of this session, we are going to discuss about how do we determine a sentiment about a product. So whether the customers really like the product or really don't like the product. So what is the overall opinion about the product we are going to determine by using this Amazon Comprehend. In order to implement this particular application, so we need to extract this sentiment option from the program, a local program. So for that, the AWS provides the API call reference. For every option, say for example, entities, key phrases, AWS provides the API reference. Using this API reference, we can perform a call to this comprehend programmatically. To implement this particular application, I have downloaded a dataset from Kaggle. This particular dataset describes about Amazon's Fire tablet reviews. There are so many columns are there. We are not going to use all these columns in this particular application. So this particular application requires only the user reviews. So I'm going to retain only the user reviews from the dataset, and I'm going to eliminate all remaining columns. In addition to the user reviews, I'm going to retain the ID of the product. So after removing the other columns except the ID and the review, okay, so we'll be having the dataset with only 2 columns, ID as well as a review text. So the next step, I'm going to push all these details into my local database so that I can access this information by using the SQL queries and communicate with the Amazon Comprehend and get the sentiment of each and every review. Finally, I can also use a SQL statement to find what is the overall review about a particular product. I'm going to use MySQL local instance. So here I'm going to use my existing database, sample DB. And inside sample DB, I'm going to create a table. the table name is a Kindle reviews, where the first column is a row ID. So the row ID I'm going to generate by using an auto increment, starts from 1, and this is the ID which is imported from the CSV file, and the review will be also imported from the CSV file, and sentiment is a column which is going to be generated by using Amazon comprehend. So I'm going to create this table in my local database. Then I'm going to import the CSV file. And select the location of the CSV file. Click on the next and next. So the ID field of the CSV file corresponds to the ID attribute, and the review field of the CSV file corresponds to reviews attribute of my table. Click next and import the data. So there are around 35,000 reviews are there. Click next to complete. Finish. Then you can execute. Select star from the table name to check whether the data has been properly imported. Yes, the data is properly imported. So the fourth column is a sentiment. This particular column value will be generated by using Amazon comprehend. So if you check count, there will be around 34,000 something reviews will be there. So approximately 35,000 reviews will be there. Now we are going to use our local program, which is written in Node.js, to communicate with the Amazon comprehend. So as mentioned, if you want to communicate with the Amazon services, you're supposed to install AWS SDK node package, and the same program is going to communicate with my local database. So you're supposed to install MySQL node package, and here I'm going to create an instance for Amazon comprehend. And to communicate with the AWS cloud, you're supposed to provide some basic configuration details. Say for example, access key, ID, key, token, and the region. So these details you can get it from the AWS Cloud Console. So go to the Cloud Console, account details, and you can copy this information and you can supply in the program. After providing all the necessary details, I have set off configuration to connect it with my local database. So mysql.create connection, where I have specified the host name, username, password, port number, and my database name. Then by using the connect statement, I'm connecting with my local database. After connecting with my local database, I'm retrieving all the details, existing details from the Kindle reviews, which includes ID, which we have retrieved from the CSV file, and the reviews. Those details will be stored in the results. So If you want to communicate with Amazon Comprehend, you're supposed to pass the request in the specific format where the language code explains about the target language of the review, which is nothing but English, and the text part we're supposed to include the review which we retrieved from the database. Once the parameter is constructed, I'm going to call a sample function. For the sample function, I'm going to pass the index as well as the parameter which is constructed. From the function, I'm going to use the comprehend.detect sentiment to get the sentiment of the text. That sentiment will be stored in the data. For this, I'm passing the parameter as params. And I'm constructing a SQL query where I'm going to update the column sentiment. The sentiment is nothing but the value which is written by the Amazon comprehend, the data.sentiment. And I'm going to update in the corresponding row ID. Okay, that's all about the local program. It's a simple program. You can execute this particular program to communicate with the comprehend and update the local database. As there are 35,000 lines are there, so it will take a couple of minutes to get complete. Once the program gets completed, we can check whether the appropriate sentiment have been updated in the table. See, now the sentiments have been generated from the Amazon comprehend, and we wanted to know, so how many positive reviews. So if you look at the database, around 26,000 positive reviews about a particular product, and all remaining reviews, say for example neutral, negative as well as mixed, I'm considering the reviews against the product. So look at the remaining thing, execute. So will be approximately 5,500. So it means that it clearly says the people liked about the product. So as there are 26,000 plus positive reviews, it clearly shows people like the product. So this is how the Amazon comprehend can be used in the real-time applications and can be implemented at ease.